shakalaka! Welcome to another episode of the Sasha Daygame podcast. This week, finally, I'm going to discuss Western girls versus Eastern girls. Brackets, American girls suck, is the title of the podcast. And people, it's one of the things people ask me the most. You know, everywhere I go around the world, I'm traveling, people are commenting on my blog or emailing me, go, Sasha, where are the hottest girls? Where are the best girls? Where are the girls who are cool and awesome and want to have sex and are sexually open and aren't like all bitchy and just want your money? And it's a great question, and I can see why people would ask me that all the time, because I've been, at least 40 countries. I've been to a lot of countries with a lot of beautiful girls, and yeah, you just start, I guess people picked up on the fact that I'm a lot more fond of girls in other countries than the ones in North America, America, Canada, and even the Western world. And so people are like, what the fuck is going on here? Why are girls better there, and where are they, and what countries do we go to? And I'll tell you what would make this podcast weird. If there were some random typing noises in the background, people probably wonder. They probably think I was being a dick or sending people emails while I was doing this, and that would be wrong. That would be my special guest, who's already on Skype, listening into this, typing on his computer like an asshole. So you'll all discover who the asshole is in a minute. But I just wanted to say that I'm very excited to do this. I'm going to have a couple of guests on, actually, talking about this topic. But just in general, I would say that, there's this concept I've been talking about recently, which is people don't realize just how much sort of in the rat race they are. Because, if you're from, I don't know, the States, or you're from whatever Western country, and you got to work lots and lots and lots to make lots of money because it's so fucking expensive in the city that you're in, You just have to work your balls off. And people don't realize that if you leave the expensive city, you don't have to work that much. It's only these cities. If you're in New York, or you're in Toronto, or you're in I don't know, goddamn it, Zurich or whatever. Most cities they're pricey. And if you're in a major metropolis, certainly. If you're outside of those, it's not as bad. But if you're in a major city, it's really expensive. So you have to work all the fucking time. And you get trapped in this cycle of just like, you're just trying to pay your bills, right? Trying to pay your bills and food. And if you go on a couple of dates, boom, your money's gone. And it's just this constant grind. But what people don't realize is you are only in that grind because you're in that city. As soon as you get out of those expensive cities and you just get out to some, somewhere else, basically, it could be South America, it could be Eastern Europe, somewhere, even Asia, where there's civilization, but it's just not, super expensive. You don't have to work that much. You really don't have to work that much. And so there's entire businesses and stuff kind of being born out of the fact that, people are trying to get these remote lifestyles where they can, they can work a little bit on their computer business or build up a small income somewhere on an internet business or whatever, or an information business or something along those lines. And then they can go and live in some country where, you don't need fucking $3,000 or more to live. You need, $300 maybe, or $500, or certainly not more than $1,000. And you can have a great quality of life. And so when you're doing that, then you realize, wait a minute, Jesus, okay, so not only do I not have to work all the time, I've got all this extra time. And the women in some of these countries are fucking gorgeous, so now you got all this extra time. You can just chase women. That sounded like I said tase women. There's one. All right, I got me a fresh one. So suddenly it's a really huge shift in reality. So these two things kind of go together. So just as you can have that realization of like, oh, okay, I can leave this big city and work less, you have the realization that, hey, look, you might be having a tough time with girls or meeting girls who are not really that down or seem to be more into like clothes and money and other things and aren't just happy meeting a genuine guy. Hey, you know what? If you get out of your fucking country in the West, you go to some other countries, you will see that women actually are extremely, extremely different and better, basically. And so that's what I wanted to discuss in this episode. And so just as a general theme, and I guess this is what we'll be getting into, but as a general theme, women from the West are a pain in the ass. I would use my home city of Toronto as the best example of probably the worst city in the world to meet women. Of anywhere I've been, it's still the worst of anywhere by a large margin. Anywhere. Seriously, it's brutal. And it's almost like they just don't even care. Like I've had girls actually say this to me in conversations, like where I'm talking to a girl and I'm just like, look, you're attractive, I'm attractive, you're single, I'm a lot of fun, I'm good in bed, you know, let's meet up and at least see how we get along, right? You know, pretty straightforward. Let's just hang out. Nah, you know what? I really don't care. What do you mean you don't care? You don't like sex? You don't like having fun? What is it? You know, like, yeah, I just don't have time. It's not a priority for me. I'd rather just study and do my job and make money. So really, you know, I've had girls say it to me verbally, but it's obvious when you're talking to a girl and there's a good energy and she likes you and she's laughing or whatever, and you're just like, yeah, let's go. And she's like, nah, I don't think so. It's showing you that their priorities are somewhere else. They're just not into it. And when I say it, I mean dating, I mean sex, I mean meeting somebody who's actually like fun and, you know, is just a normal dude. They're not into it. They really would rather just do other stuff. And it's really quite frustrating if you're in Toronto and you want to meet girls who are normal, attractive, wonderful girls. It's really brutal, and it's like this in a lot of Western cities. Girls are interested in getting cash. They're interested in like, you know, the whole paradigm that we have is like, you know, it's just about dating the highest bidder, right? Like, what's marriage about? Finding a provider for you. You know, ooh, he's a lawyer, he's a doctor. So our whole system is really for women is about you know, finding a guy who makes money, who can take care of you, which is basically prostitution. That is prostitution. That is the definition of prostitution, selling yourself to the highest bidder. And that's normal in the Western society. It's absolutely normal. And here's the real fucking shocker. And by the way, that's, you know, really, you know, that's apparent from like even the dating paradigm. Guy takes her out to dinner and buys her fucking gifts. All this shit. All this needy, I'm going to spend money to get women shit. It's really pathetic. Everyone who's listening to this who knows me knows I'm against it and it's bullshit. But your average guy totally buys into it, and it's absurd. So here's the crazy part, and I'll say this, and I'll bring in our very special guest. When you go to the East, say Eastern Europe, or you go to South America, you go to parts of Asia, you realize, wait a minute, the rest of the world isn't like us, and there are parts in the world where it's okay to be a woman still. It's okay for women to be sexual. It's okay for men to be men and actually hit on girls and just be like, damn, you're sexy, and it's okay to do that. You're not a sexual predator. You're not vilified as a man for approaching a girl on the street or having sexual thoughts or flirting with girls. Hey, in the West, like literally, people are losing their fucking jobs for telling girls they look nice. Like not even touching them or nothing. Just like, hey, you look nice today. That's enough to lose your job in America. America's completely fucking fucked. But that's where things are going. But in the East, absolutely not. I mean, you can compliment women. There's no stigma about it. There's nothing wrong with a woman being feminine and you know, and pleasing her man or just staying at home and cooking and cleaning and giving you great sex and making sure her man's happy, and a man going out and making money and taking care of the world of the woman. That's absolutely normal. There's nothing weird about it. People still have free choice. You know, women can go and study or work if they want to, but there's nothing wrong with having those traditional roles. And women don't want your money at all. Like, they're literally just like, no, fuck off, don't, you know, it's just unbelievable. And so women are sexual and they want sex and they're okay with it, and they're happy to pay for half their food, and they almost don't want you to spend. In many countries, they don't want you spending money on them because they respect themselves as women. They don't want to be fucking treated like hookers, and that's normal. That's actually the norm everywhere else. And so that's what's so fucking weird about guys falling into this paradigm. That's just, it's an illusion. It's only in certain countries in the Western world, and the vast majority of the world, women are still feminine women, and they're still sexy, and they're not going to be offended that you're fucking hitting on them. So, or at least it's not that women are offended in the West. That's bullshit. But it's almost like the propaganda is that we're beasts for doing this kind of stuff. And so yes, so that's the rant. Women are basically way more fucking awesome everywhere else, and so that's what I wanted to talk about. And joining me now is a very special man. I don't mean just only that he's slightly retarded in the head. I mean he's an awesome dude. It's my old buddy John Keegan. Everybody knows who he is. He has traveled all around the place. You're in a great city for beautiful girls right now, New York City.
Yes.
And that's actually, I would say, one of the exceptions to what I'm talking about. New York women are actually, I think they're just so craved for dick because so many guys are just it's almost like it's reversed there. The guys aren't interested. A lot of guys are gay or they're doing business stuff. So it's like the guys aren't interested and the women actually are interested. So that it's literally like if you want to figure out what Eastern Europe's like, go to New York and talk to some girls and you'll see what the rest of the world is like. What do you think, John?
Yeah, well, I mean, you make a lot of interesting points, so I'd love to just get on. Let's just start with the last question. Yeah, New York's an amazing place. Not, I've lived here for a long time, so I definitely have many unique insights into it. But one of the biggest reasons it's an amazing place is because of the people that live here come from all over the world. They come from all over America. They come from every continent, every country, every town, all over the world. And it's a certain breed of people. It's a breed of people who kind of transcend the small town mind and go into the the place where they can create themselves, the place where they can become their ultimate self. And this is that place where people come. So it's a certain kind of a person that's here. It's a person who's got some adventure in them. It's a person who's open to life. It's a person who's not locked into their small town, safety. So therefore, a lot of great things happen here, and like magic moments happen every day because the people are open. And so if you're a guy who's willing to take the risks, there's a lot of guys here who aren't willing to take the risks is really the problem, or just don't know how to deal with it, and there's so much abundance here that men and women both get lost in it. Like there's so much choice that people don't make any choice, or they don't make commitments. So a lot of guys get lost in that. Women here, it's different than Eastern Europe, and we'll get into that. But women here, are very driven. It's a very driven kind of people because they're driven to create something, and also you have to be driven to pay the rent. There's no way out of it. It's not easy living. So, but there's a lot. There's actually more women here than men, and there is a lot of gay guys, and there's a whole mix of people. It's a fun town, but it has its drawbacks where it's so much stimulation it can be too much, for people. So that's New York. But talking about the overall sort of dating culture, there's so many things that have changed in society, and there's so much propaganda, especially in these last 5 years or whatever, since Facebook and all that. There's so much propaganda against against man hating, and it's just nonstop. But real women that I meet every day, they don't think like that at all. But it's like someone's trying to force them to think these negative thoughts against men, And as you've touched on that, it's like they're saying that, but the reality is when you go and you talk to 95% of women, they're happy you talked to them, they're happy you approached them, they're happy you gave them a compliment. So don't let the media or whoever, the media, I don't even want to use that word, but somebody's got an agenda and they're pushing it down our faces. Someone's, keeps putting down the same thing, but that's not actual reality. And the reality is, and this is, what you teach, Sasha, and what I teach is, go out and stop listening to the negative voices in the world. That most of them are actually just in your head, and then we tune into places where the negativity is coming from to reinforce that, like the media, and then and start going out and experiencing life. Start going out and talking to people and saying hi. And once you become calibrated at it, once you become good at giving a compliment, people respond well. When you're new and you're really, not used to talking to people, people may not react, they won't react horribly, but they, in general, but they may not be like receptive to your compliments. You have to expect that. But when you get good at it, most people are really willing to receive. Once in a while, you run into some wackadoo who's really into this kind of stuff, but even that, you can easily put them in their place.
Well, so, I want to almost go into what you said there, and it's that's exactly what I feel. It's like we're being programmed. Like you just look at the there's like definitely an agenda to make us believe that men are bad for having sexual thought. Men are bad for I mean literally we're just being made out to be sexual predators. And there's entire movements out there. They're happening now where men's rights movements where men are going, no, well, fuck off. What are you talking? What are you talking about? We're the ones who are being oppressed, actually more than women in some cases, and that nobody talks about that. So women are made out to be the victim, and we're made out to be the predator. But actually, all the bad stuff going on with men, men are having tons of problems as well. We're all human beings, but those ones aren't discussed, and it's really. It's really scary, actually. This attack that's happening against just men in general. It's really
and boys too, like children. This is how they're seeing. We're all sensitive creatures at one point. Some of us learn to desensitize, but But at one point, we're watching this and we're seeing this sort of man-hating, this anti-man. And the reality is that we're just people. And what they're doing to men is making them scared to be themselves, to disconnect from their instinct, making them feel ashamed. It's just a new way to make, the shame has been a way to control the population since the beginning of time. And that's, been the last 2,000 years. Religion's been shaming, using people to shame them to try and stop having sex, to shame them into, getting married, to shame them into feeling what they're feeling. And now they're just trying to now there's a new way to shame. Now they're shaming men into feeling, bad about who they are, about having sexual desires. And the reality is that the women have the same sexual desires. And here's what they're doing to women. These people that have this agenda, whoever they be. But the agenda is this. And this is what they're doing. And, obviously an evolved woman will pick it up, but a lot of younger women and younger men too, when you're emotional and you're idealistic, you want to join with this cause that's like, hey, there's a revolution happening. The revolution is men are bad and women are the victims, and we're going to stop being the victims. And the reality is, what they're doing is making the woman an automatic victim. So they're literally saying all the time that a woman is a victim. So the woman lives in the victim mentality. So they're putting her in that place, which is actually the biggest way to oppress someone is make them a victim. So they're making the whole agenda victim. And then from that place they operate. And then from that place they rage against their enemy, which is now has to be the so-called opposite, which we're not opposites, but they make it the opposite, that the man is the enemy. So the victim must rage against its oppressor, which is everybody with a penis. So that's what they're doing to women in general, making them the victim. So then you'll find when you're in a relationship with a woman, oftentimes a woman automatically assumes the role of victim because they're always the victim. So that's kind of how it's manifesting. But again, I go back and I say, we're talking on a global scale. When you go into, you actually meet real people, and then they're just people, and we remove all that stuff. But I have seen it, especially in younger women in early 20s and stuff, where they really take on this ideology, like I'm the victim, and they have a misconception of what feminism is, and they start becoming overly, I guess, what's the word, like stubborn or overly, instead of like they're trying to assert some kind of masculinity, but it's not real masculinity, it's just anger, and they're putting it at the man. And instead of just like letting the natural role of a man, be a man and a woman be a woman and something beautiful happen, there's all this new resistance that's there because there's this kind of social conditioning. And I have seen that. And I think as women get older and wiser, like all of us, then when they go more from being girls to women, and the social, more their natural state will take over. And that's what I've noticed. So it's sort of like those who are easily influenced are very young people, and they start kind of taking on that.
Yeah. I mean, very well put. I couldn't have said it any better myself. That's what's going on, and I guess we just have to sort of have faith that common sense will prevail, and as people mature, they'll just sort of and I guess as all of us are becoming more enlightened and people are just waking up globally, just with everything, seeing these systems of control. Hopefully, more and more people will start sharing information and ideas where people are touching upon the truth, which is that reality is very different than the one that is presented to us, and reality is very different than the propaganda that's being fed to us. And more and more, I think people are tuning into that this is not just...
Well, let's look at what's happening now as we talk. There's all this presidential things going on, and this guy, Donald Trump, who is a megalomaniac, however, people love him right now because he's being politically incorrect. And people are so fucking sick of this nonstop, all of a sudden I can't call a boy a girl or a girl a boy. I can't, oh shit. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought you dropped out.
No.
All of a sudden I can't, you can't say he or she, or everybody's transgender, and what's this, and all of a sudden as a man, I'm not allowed to fucking say anything. So it's like, it's gotten really sickening, And it's like the people who, in the media, you look, it's the people who, felt oppressed for the last 100 years or the last 2,000 years or whatever. Now they're just the victims, and they're raging against every man, every white man, everybody, they're the enemy. It's like, what? I'm just born into a body just like you are. Stop making everybody enemies. So there's this group of people who are doing the anti-Buddha, the anti-Christ, which is saying everybody's separate. They're constantly separating. But then, and then if we make common sense like things like, hey, there's a girl over there and she's pretty, all of a sudden you've said something bad. And there's just like this whole movement to basically make us not see reality, which is scary. So it's like, if I say, hey, there's a man who's got his woman wrapped from head to toe in a burqa, and he says that's his property, and I say, hey, isn't that slavery? Someone says I'm racist. I said, no, that's slavery. But now you're not allowed to say anything. And that's the world. So this politically correct world, people are sick of it. So Donald Trump, who's megalomaniac, is would get as many votes as Charlie Sheen would, because people love the freedom that they're bringing. You need this kind of extreme person to make us bring in the relief, so that we're all allowed to think our thoughts again, which are normal, healthy thoughts. So I just wanted to kind of, go on that diatribe there.
Well, I mean, you, dude, again, 100% agree with you, and that's why the more and more I sort of get comfortable with, like, doing what I do, which is just really just spreading the truth. It's the same. It's the same thing, whether you look at dating or the nature of reality or health or what's, politics, what's really happening on the planet. It's all just layers of deception. It's all just trying to control people and forcing down an agenda. And that's the problem, and that so for so long, it seems like hundreds of years, humanity has just been in the dark ages, right? Just following along with the agenda, getting your little job and paying your taxes, and just trying to survive. People are just waking up and just seeing the reality, which is multiple agendas, very wealthy people and people controlling at the top, who are raping the planet for its resources, taking all the money and keeping it. And destroying the planet in that process, and trying to get us not only trying to get us, wiping out the middle class on purpose, but also limiting what we can think and what we can do, telling us what substances we can put into our body and what we can't. Very interesting that the ones that can lead to enlightenment and make you God realize and actually realize the ultimate truth, which is we're all one. Those ones are illegal. Alcohol and cigarettes, though, those are fine. The ones that dull you down and make you stupid and get you sick, that's fine. They're poisoning the food, shoving GMO food down our throats, pesticides. It's hard. I mean, it's horrific. But now people are like just waking the fuck up. So when it comes to women and dating, it's the same thing. We've been living under a paradigm, and speaking again, so people who are in the seduction community are seen as like, they're crazy. What are they doing? It's all. But actually, a lot of the stuff being said is completely true and honest, and some of it is, of course, bad. There's people out there who are confused. But it's just all we're talking about here really is the people waking up and tuning into reality and tuning into just common sense. Common sense, which is a man should be able to talk to a woman and have a connection and go and sleep with her without it being weird.
And that's right. And there's even things in California now where in the colleges there, they have this thing now where they have to go. They might even getting so far they're trying to have like a little piece of paper they have to bring out and just check off every step of the way. So if the guy's about to kiss the girl, he has to say, "Is it okay?" And then she has to go, "Yes." And then he goes and touches her breast, and she goes, "Is it okay?" He says, and they have to go that all the way down the thing, which is complete opposite of nature, which is the complete opposite of two salmon swimming upstream. And it's all around the idea, again, that the man is a sexual predator and he's the violent one. And it's all also around this idea, this whole fear-based society idea that because there's less than 1% of psychopaths in the world, the rest of the 99% of us have to fucking suffer all day. Everything's revolved around the 1% psychopaths. It's the same thing with the TSA. Because there's some psychopath out there with Every man, woman, and child has to be probed by these by these uneducated animals groping you as you walk through to try and take a flight somewhere. So because there's somewhere out there, there's one guy.
Well, that's just the justification, right? That's not reality. It's just they need a reason to control everybody and search your shit and let you know that they're in charge and they'll do whatever the fuck they want to. So they'll always make up a reason.
Right, but let's go.
It used to be the savior.
Women.
Yeah.
Are we talking about women?
Let's talk about women.
A couple ideas on that before we
Let's
go
talk
crazy.
about some ladies.
So I just wanted to say one of the main issues here is, we live in a great time. So let's not forget it. I think personally it's the most interesting time of all time, and I wouldn't want to be alive any other time, except the time that they figure out how to live forever. But really, it's a great time to be alive. And it can also be stressful because there's so much going on and so much change and so much, there has to be, there's so much in our face, there's so much stimulation, just even before Facebook was a thing, we were never this stimulated before. We never had this much information before. We were never able, there's people deliberately trying to take over your consciousness all the time. And it used to be pretty simple. It was just like Pepsi Cola would take it over or Coca-Cola. It was like whoever could buy the commercial. There was just one way to get to people, which car dealer would take over your consciousness on the radio. It was like that. But now with social media, things like that, there's entire anyone can take over your consciousness, and there's people fighting to do that. And it's very clear that in the last few years, some people have really gotten good at it, and that's what they're doing. And they're pushing the anti-gun, or they're pushing the anti-this, or the anti-that, the anti-man, and they're really using it for all it's worth, and they're literally taking over people's consciousness. But so that's kind of what we're talking about. But on this other side, just kind of talking about what's going on. 50 years ago, women couldn't work, or they were at home having children, so they were oppressed in that way. So a lot of things have changed, and that's great. And then there's just consequences to that, and the consequence is confusion. Like, what is my role as a woman? And then me, what is my role as a man? Where do I fit in all these changes when now my boss is a woman, and now this is a woman, and now I'm studying with women, and it didn't used to be that. So it was very clear, and there was some peace in that for people. There was an understanding, this is my role. But now, because we're not locked into these roles, we have to redefine them, and there's some people who are vigilantly trying to define them. But the natural thing is that hasn't changed and never will change, is that you are a man, that there is a masculinity and a femininity in you, but there's a masculine drive to connect with a woman, to be a pursuer, to be the one who takes a risk taker, and that's natural. To be a guy who has instincts, and because of social conditioning and fear, guys disconnect from their instincts, and women too. Everyone, the girls you were talking about in Toronto, completely disconnected from her instincts. A girl connected to her instincts is ready to go on that date. A girl who's connected to the present moment and not stuck inside a stream of incessant thinking in her mind, is ready to go on a date right now. She's ready to go have fun. She's ready to go enjoy life. So it's very clearly these are just people disconnected from their instincts. And when we understand that underneath there's a natural role for a woman to be feminine and a woman to sort of pull a man in, that doesn't change. That hasn't changed, and it's never going to change. It's natural. So that doesn't mean that society has to be, that the woman can't be the president of every company and rule the world and all those things. But in this role, this dynamic between a man and a woman, that is true. And you know what? That's politically incorrect to say. I could be in big trouble. I'm sure there's someone seething who might be listening. The reality is it's true. And that's what's true. And for you guys who are listening, look for information. That's true. Know that that's true. And then learn how to be the leader. Learn how to be the risk taker in a smooth way that makes her feel great about being a woman, that makes her feel like, wow, makes her feel clearer about who she is, makes her feel at ease about how to be a woman. It's your job to learn those things. And as the man, that's a timeless role. So just that's really where all the confusion is. So, but underneath all the bullshit, underneath all the social conditioning, underneath all these agendas, when you're tuned into your instinct, humanity doesn't change. So that's my point on that.
You got me floored, buddy. That's awesome. I love your rants. When you get
Yeah,
into the flow, it's beautiful.
yeah. Thank you.
I really
Thanks.
like
Thank
that.
you.
But yeah, and it's just amazing. Again, it's a fun. Like here's the beautiful thing about the truth. And I'm sure I'll say this many times over and over again because it's just one of those things. When you hear the truth, you just know. You know. Just like with what you said now, it's just the truth, and you know that's the truth, and it's very difficult to deny it. And I think all guys out there should really tune into their instincts and just listen and to themselves. And when people are talking and trying to put across an opinion or an agenda or whatever, just listen. How does that feel? Does that feel right to you? And I'm going to guess that what you just said is going to feel right to most people. That there's men, there's women, and part of that dynamic is just completely natural and will always be natural, which is the man going after the woman, and it is what it is. And just to feel in that and sit with that and see how it feels. And the same thing when you're seeing these, whatever people go on the news and yeah, men are predators and blah blah blah, and they're out rapists. Sit with that for a moment and see how that feels. And if it feels wrong and it's fucking bullshit, not only ignore it and try and just get it out of your psyche, push back. Push back. Go and comment on blogs. Go and write emails. Forward shit to people. Because we need to. I think as men, certainly in this I think as human beings, we all need to push back against the all this brainwashing and just let people become aware of it and start reading alternative news sources, like RT.com and various other media that are actually talking about what's really going on. But certainly when it comes to men and women, we need to start taking a stand, and there's some stuff we'll be doing the next couple of months where I'm really going to be getting really clear about where I stand in this.
Can I just tell you something? Like, there's a great park here in New York called Washington Square Park. It's my favorite place in the world. But NYU's there, and, it's become, again, this sort of, so you have very young people being influenced by certain professors that are just, these people who put that kind of consciousness in the world, like this militant, hateful kind of anti-man mentality. And then you'll see young 18-year-old girls in the park, and they're writing in chalk like anti-man things, and it was really bad. It was like all this stuff about it was literally like cliche stuff. It was these girls going on about rape, and now that's a big thing. Like everybody's like, because they're saying rape, I'm not allowed to say anything because she's the perpetual victim. Since I have a penis, I can't be a victim. But they're just seething towards all men, and they're putting things. They're writing in a beautiful park. Everybody's got their agenda, but we're in the park. We're trying to relax every day. These people there, they're writing every corner of the park. Rape your high school son, who's your football player star son, raped me. Like cliches. Like because a guy plays football and people's popular. Now he's a rapist. That's a cliche. Or this guy, everybody's raping them. And then one day, I could see every guy I was with, even women, they just kind of look. They're scared to like make a comment. They got to pretend like it's not happening, right? It's like abusive. And it's like, wait a minute, we're in the fucking park in a busy city where everyone's got problems, and you're invading our consciousness with your negativity, right? Like there's a space to talk about rape, and it is a horrible thing, and there's a place for that, and there's a place to communicate that. And I went up and I said that to the girl, and she starts screaming, "This guy's for rape. He's for rape. He's for rape." And I'm like, whoa, all I said is you're disturbing a lot of people's consciousness here. I mean, it's one thing if you would have wrote it in one corner of the park, but you've literally written it at every entrance, around the fountain. Everyone's got, and I said, and you're attacking men. The way you're doing it is not just trying to, you're not helping women by disturbing them when they're in the park trying to relax, talking about rape. You're not helping women who were raped by when they go to the park to relax and be at peace. You have the word rape in every fucking corner. So I thought to myself, okay, I actually did complain and to the park officials, and all that was removed actually because it is too much. But they'll be back again in the new year, and I thought, why not get a bunch of young men to write in chalk all over the park, just like they're doing, because they're just writing in chalk. It's First Amendment. Why not bring our boys home? Stop abusing our boys. Stop making our young boys as if they're monsters. Stop painting boys as if they're monsters. And why don't we have that? So someone advocating for the abuse and manipulation of young boys and men by the media.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Well, yeah,
that's
there
what I
should be a
thought.
campaign,
Like,
which is
we could,
men are
yeah,
not rapists. Like what the fuck?
yeah, well, yeah. Stop. Let men be men.
I like how this has just turned into the rape podcast at this point, or the anti-rape podcast. Well, yeah, as you were saying that about that's super fucking disturbing, dude. I looked up just online a couple of days ago. I was looking into this because I'm really getting angry about what's happening here. So I was looking up the rape statistics and stuff, and the U.S. government is trying to say that like 1 in 5 women are raped, but it's not true. It's completely not true, and it turns out they've been redefining the definitions of it, so that if you even say something sexual to a girl, or you touch a girl's butt, that's rape. Like anything's rape now. So there's even some woman that had to redefine rape, where actually a penis entering vagina, if it's not consensual, is called, quote, real rape. And then there's other rape that's just literally like, I'm pretty sure in some places now, if you just say, hey, you look beautiful, that's rape. I'm not kidding. It's already being considered rape. So they're completely doing everything in their power to create again another problem, and it's all just to separate people, separate men and women, separate black from white, Muslim against non-Muslim. Everybody's supposed to be at war with everybody, as they go ahead and fulfill their agendas, steal all the money, take all the oil money, destroy the planet, and make trillions of dollars doing it. That's really what's going on the higher level. And so if people just tune into that's really what's happening. It's just we're being all fucking raped by the bigwigs, and they just all want us fighting over the scraps and fighting each other. That's actually the real agenda. And if people start tuning into that and becoming enlightened and waking up to it, then those systems of power are going to collapse eventually. But that's actually what's going on here.
All right, so now we've gone into this. So let's talk about, weren't we supposed to talk about
how awesome girls are that are not American girls? What's that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, here in New York, I found all kinds of women. I've been around a while, so I've dated. One of the biggest things in society in general that's a problem is entitlement. When people feel entitled to something, so it's irrational when a person feels that they should have every equal opportunity as another person, yet they want a person of the opposite sex to pay for everything for them. So that's irrational. So that's called entitlement. So there's some old entitlement. It's like, hey, in the 1950s, a man paid for a woman. Therefore, you should still pay for me, even though I make more money than you. Right. So it's there is women that think like that, and there's a lot of guys who fall into it. But and that's not fair, but there's a lot of women who don't think like that, and they work and they want to pay their share, and that's the kind of women I like to date, But there's always going to be certain women who just feel entitled because they're a woman that you should pay for them.
Yeah.
So for me, I just disqualify those women. That's not going to change. But there's other, and we could talk about how, because it is an important topic. Like a lot of guys are like, on a date? Who pays? How do I do it? I mean, ultimately, I know other guys who are way more hardcore than me on this. If I ask a girl on a date, I pay for it. Especially the first date. I'm like, hey, I pay for it. But I'm not dumb enough to take her out to a $200 dinner. I take her out for a tea or a smoothie. Maybe I spend $10, $20 tops. And that's that. But I do expect her to pay at another time. If we're both in the same income bracket, then we can share in those expenses as we become boyfriend and girlfriend. And that's what I have done traditionally. If I'm an older guy and I'm dating a younger girl in a different income bracket and I'm taking her out to expensive dinners and stuff, I got to pay.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because you're making that choice.
She can pay for that.
Yeah, sure. But the point is that girls, when you get outside of the States and kind of the West, they're a lot less entitled.
That's really true.
Yeah, you go to Budapest or anywhere in Eastern Europe, really, any of those countries, or ex-Yugoslavian countries, countries that used to be in the Soviet Union that are no longer, really beautiful, amazing women. Educated. They speak English.
Great to talk to.
Yeah, they speak English. They're smart. They're really, really hard workers. A lot of these girls you run into, they're studying and they have 2 jobs, and some of them are studying and they have 3 jobs. And I'm like, are you serious? And so they're real, and so they definitely don't want your money. But what's interesting is some of them just don't even have time to hang out with you because they're literally working all the time. It's just insane.
Well, yeah, and this is, let's dispel some myths. A lot of times guys will say, oh, like if you're going to a place like somewhere in Eastern Europe, oh, like those girls would just want to get your money and get out, and that's just not true. I mean, there's gold diggers all over the world, but the average girl that I've met in any of these places, Budapest, Serbia, Prague, they don't want to go anywhere. They're just having a great. They're just trying to build their own life, and you're a cool guy, and they're just very, very interesting people, and they're not that easy, so to speak. They're maybe more in the moment, maybe more willing to go with the flow, but they're not. It's not like some kind of easy place to go get women. That's like in that sense, in the sense of because you're the cool guy in the West that they're jumping all over you. I didn't find that personally.
No. I mean, it depends. Yeah. It depends where you go, but some of the countries, not at all. Like like Hungary, for example, is one of them where the girls are super sweet and beautiful and wonderful, but they're not going to jump in bed with you at all.
No, they're very loyal too. I noticed a lot of them already have boyfriends.
Yeah, they're loyal and they're a little conservative, so they'll flirt with you or whatever.
Stick with their guy.
Unless
they're single.
Yeah, but even if they're single, they're not just oh yeah, let's have sex. No, it just doesn't work that way.
No,
but they certainly don't want. They just don't expect you to take them out and spend money on them. They just want to hang out. They're really just good fucking human beings. They're just not like. They just don't have the belief system as out here.
Yeah, it's a whole different economy too. Like the guys aren't loaded. Everyone knows, like basically no one's really loaded. So it's like they're not even under the illusion that the guy has to be rich.
Right.
So it just takes all that shit away, and everyone's working to pay, to have what little they have, or that kind of stuff. And I even went out on a date with one girl in Serbia. We went out on a date, and I went to pay. And at first you feel insulted. You're like, I'll get it, because at this point you do have a lot more money than them, and they're like, she's like, no, I pay, and then not only did she like make me let her pay, she then decided to clean the table for the waitress. Right? Like it was just like she had empathy for the waitress who worked so hard, and she just cleaned her own table. Like, and that's kind of what I'm saying. There's no entitlement whatsoever. I'm not entitled to your money. I'm not entitled to this woman to clean the table. It was just like so. So there's a lot of it's very different over there. It's kind of refreshing. It's actually a little bit maddening sometimes, because you're like, hey, I know that for me, I'm going to pay $5, $10 for this meal. And to me, that's nothing, but to you, that's a lot. But yet, but for her, and it's a lot. To her, it's like $100. It's that equivalent of that. Yeah. So, but yet she's still going to pay. Like that really tells you something about, and that's not an isolated incident.
No.
It's not. We can all talk about examples.
It's not. We got all kinds of stories. Yeah, it is really amazing. And then you get into some other countries where it's there's no guilt whatsoever about sex. Like you go to Scandinavia, and the women will ask to take you home. Like it's just like what? Because there's just no shame. There's no shame, and no one is the predator. People are really equal, and anyone can have sex with anyone without it being weird or creepy in any way. So it's beautiful. So there's just so many other paradigms out there, different from our one, and our one's just can be a little bit fucked up if you pay attention to the program.
Yeah.
So that's really the point here. And if and I say to a lot of guys, and you might think I'm just sort of saying this to be funny or whatever, but I'm not. Some guys are suffering with women because you need to get your shit together and your game together, and you need to become more confident, and just you need to become a better man, and that's fine. But I've met plenty of guys who are pretty decent guys, and they're not connecting with women, not because they suck. It's because women suck. Some women do suck. They do have the entitlement. They want you to spend lots of money. They're actually quite fake, and they don't actually know themselves. And their idea of having a good time is going to a club and getting fucking slaughtered with alcohol. And if that's the type of girl you're trying to be real and talk to and be genuine, it's not going to work, because it's not the right type of girl for you. So I just want to emphasize that as you should be working on yourself, you should also be looking for women that are a match for you. And this is why I started doing as you did around the same time as me back in 2007. Go and meet girls that are going to be in line with your beliefs and your thoughts and your energy, because and it still blows me away when I meet guys who are relatively well-to-do, just good dudes, like decent human beings, and they're going to clubs to try and meet chicks. I'm just like, why are you going to club? Go and meet women that are going to be genuine. They're not going to be in there. They're not in there. They're somewhere else. So some guys, are not getting what they want with women, and to the point, getting a nice girlfriend or whatever they want. It's because you're not in a place where there are decent fucking women, and so don't be afraid to change it up. Where you're going, and don't be afraid to leave your city. Like get out of your city if it's shitty, and go and explore and go somewhere else. Definitely don't want to be in Toronto, dude. If you want to get good with chicks and you're in Toronto, you just don't want to be there.
It's tough area to get into the flow. I noticed, right?
It's brutal. Yeah. And yeah. So just expand your awareness and get the fuck out if you can, because it can be. Geography is a big part of what's going to happen success-wise. But obviously, if you're a complete douchebag and you don't love yourself and you feel bad about who you are, it doesn't matter where you are. It's not gonna work out for you anyway. So work on yourself first, and then improve your location. That would be my thoughts.
Excellent.
But yeah, dude, I think that was very good.
It was good, right?
It was very good, and
we got the lead out.
We did.
Right?
I know you have some good, healthy anger, and it's good for you to let it out. Hopefully, some people out there one day you'll see John do an angry rant, and it's quite good. But that was good. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's good he didn't tear into the Muslims too much, because that could have been more politically awkward.
I'm not anti-Muslim, by the way. I'm anti-slavery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing, and if John is willing, he can pop out to Serbia. Well, we'll be there for the Direct Dating Summit in September. Weekend of September 19th. That would be awesome to see him doing what he does best. And yeah, for all the people tuning in, that was wonderful John Keegan, New York's premier dating coach, and he's a whore. And that's all you need to know about him. I won't say anything else. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Any final message for the fellows out there in Cyberland?
Yeah, just to bring it all back down to earth, guys. It really is a beautiful world out there, filled with beautiful people. And when you talk to people individually, one-on-one, I mean, most of them are really worth knowing, really worth discovering. And it's kind of our job to get good at breaking the ice with people and letting them open up and allow them to be ourselves so we can learn. For me, one way I always love to, because you could tell, like Sasha and myself are both very affected. So you read the news, we get upset. Some people it doesn't affect that much. So what I do to really balance that for myself and to remind myself that humans are humans is I go out and I talk to them. And my favorite site I like to follow is Humans of New York, because the guy goes and he talks to people, not just in New York, but around the world. He talks to the people you might just want to bump into and say, hey, fuck you too, and all of a sudden you see they're human. He's even in Pakistan right now, a country that's vilified all over the news, and then he walks up to all these people, and there's just beautiful people with beautiful things to say, and they're not trying to blow up the airport,
Yep.
So it's so important. So even though we're joking about the Islam thing, it's so important when you feel those negative feelings towards a group of people, a race, or go over and talk to somebody in that group. Go over and talk to multiple somebodies, and all of a sudden the hate will go away because they're just people, man. And that's and so when there's these social agendas going on, go over and find out for yourself if going over and telling a girl she has nice eyes is going to kill her. It's not. So just go over and discover for yourself is all I'm saying. Meet people one-on-one. And the more we do that, the more we humanize, the less war we'll have within ourselves and the less war there'll be in the world.
I just want to agree with that 100%. I was just recently in, well, not that recently, but I was in briefly in the Middle East on a stopover just for 24 hours. And I spoke to some people and went to restaurants and whatever. And I can tell you that those terrorists are some of the nicest people you are ever going to meet. I mean, they are. No, I'm joking, but no, seriously, we were there and we were in Cairo, and people, you walk down the street and people literally come up to you and just go, "Hey, welcome to Egypt, welcome to our country. Hey, how are you? Where are you from?" Like, they're so friendly. I've never met friendly people like that anywhere in the world ever. Literally, they're like the nicest people, and I keep hearing that from other people. That if you go out there, people are just so fucking nice to you. So, yeah, it's just not. What we're presented is not the truth. It's just not the truth, and that's all there is to it. But anyway, we got to wrap this up at some point. So, John, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I will see you in the flesh very soon.
Thank you.
Peace out, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was my good buddy John Keegan. He is freaking awesome. He's a very smart guy and makes some great points. So, interestingly, I was going to wrap it up right there, but I'm so stoked about going back to Serbia to do an event there. I'm going to talk to the Serbian dating coach I know there, and we're going to talk about how fucking hot the women are. So yeah, I've got him on the other line, so I'm going to bring him on right now, and we're going to actually talk to somebody who lives in a country that we're basically talking about, a country with just unbelievably smoking hot, wonderful women, and that's just normal to him, and I think he's going to have some interesting insights. So, risking that this podcast is going to be way too fucking long, fuck it. Let's bring him on right now.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Right away, the strong Serbian accent, that's what I like to hear. I also like the huge head and the nice colorful curtain in the background. It's very Serbian. It's like it's somebody's room. There's a bunch of stuff there. They're keeping it real. Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So what's going on? So the people know that you're also a dating coach from Serbia, and you're very lucky because you get to chase some of the hottest girls in the world, and for you it's normal. But why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how did you? What happened that you ended up being a Serbian dating coach like I am in other places?
Well, thanks, man, for inviting me here. And first off, my name is Milosh. I'm coming from Serbia. Yes, I'm in very, very happy country because girls here are very hot. I think I'm born at the right place for the pickup. It's the best place that you can do if you want to have hot girls that like masculine energy, that like to be direct and honest approach. By my personal opinion, it's a really, really amazing place to be if you're a guy like that. I'm coming, well, first off, I wasn't so good with girls.
Wait a second. Before, let me just interrupt you. Can you change your camera so you're in the middle? Because right now your head's like totally...
Okay.
There we go.
See me?
Oh, that's much better. All right.
Okay.
Go again from that sense.
So, first off, I wasn't so good with girls. I was finding my way. How can I improve myself and other stuff? And I went into community. So at first, I was like indirect, doing little bit routines. It's the first thing that I met too. But I didn't find myself into it. And then I become more natural, and I become about the things that actually you build the best version of yourself. And like the best version of yourself, you put that into the world, and the world will bring you back what you need. So this is the kind of approach that I'm personally doing. This is the kind of approach that I think that is the best because the point is to be real, to be yourself, and to be the good place. So I developed my skills, go very great, and I opened a company in Serbia that's called Društvena dinamika u službi zavođenja. For Serbian people, they can find us. So.
If you're not Serbian, good luck. But what's cool about being from there, and I guess kind of for you, not cool, but cool at the same time, what I hear from Serbian guys is like they don't realize how lucky they are until they leave Serbia. They leave Serbia and they go, oh my God, the girls aren't as hot, they're fat, they want your money, it's shit. And then they come back to Serbia, they're like, fuck travel, I want to stay here. And when like me and like James Marshall or whoever else come into Serbia, we're like, we want to stay here. Fuck the rest of the world. This is awesome. And so it's hard even for guys to imagine what I'm talking about, because it's not just the women are really gorgeous. Yeah, they're really fucking gorgeous. I mean, they're unbelievable. They're tall. They have great bodies. There are very few really overweight, like women that are just fat or whatever. They really take care of themselves. They dress up. They really put on they dress nice, man. It's like a fashion show. It's like you stand in the middle of the main street in central Belgrade, and it's just a fashion show of just ridiculously gorgeous women. It's insane. And what's really amazing, it's not just that they're so beautiful, and also you can stay there because it's much more affordable, especially if you're not from there. It's the attitude of the women, and this is so. I'll tell you what I think, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me. But I think you'll agree is that the girls there, they don't like the bullshit. They don't like the indirect bullshit. They don't want you pretending shit or trying to show off. They really like it if you just come up and say, "Hey, you're beautiful. I want to meet
They
you."
like masculine energy.
Yeah.
They like men.
Yeah.
They grow up with strong men. Serbian people are big, strong males, usually bigger. So they're used to that. They don't like bullshit because they're used to masculine energy. They're feminine. They're like what men do. They're just doing their things to feel to make her man feel great. This is how they are learned from the little when they was little babies, because people, this kind of culture that they grow up with, so they're used to do things for the man who is masculine.
Right. Yeah, and what's funny is because guys who join the community, they're doing all this shit, all this bullshit. They're trying to become a masculine man, but they're doing it the wrong way. And they're trying to become what Serbian guys are, which is naturally masculine anyway. They're just big, strong, fucking. And in some ways, of course, that's bad because they but that's a different story. But they're doing it the wrong way. They're memorizing scripts and doing all this kind of shit.
Definitely.
When actually being a man is, can you be present? Can you be direct? Can you be brave enough just to tell a girl, hey, you're fucking hot, I want to meet you? And they'll give you their tests in Serbia, same as anywhere else. Women will test you. But if you just are okay with your intention and you keep you don't pussy out, I'm sorry. If you're just normal, there's no stigma. There's nothing wrong with having sex with a guy. Girls want to fuck in Serbia. That's what it is. They just want. They're totally comfortable with it. I'm not going to say it's as crazy as like Scandinavia, like Sweden, where they're just like hopping. They're trying to pull you home. It's not like that. But they're really up for it. They're not sexually conservative. No fucking way. Girls in Serbia are okay with sex. I can tell you that right now, for sure.
Yes, they are, especially to the foreign people, because there is no so much social pressure. In Serbia, they're a little bit more concerned about social pressure, but when the people are coming to the boot camp more from the outside, there is no social pressure.
Right.
So that's for the people that is doing boot camp here. It can be awesome because it's for them really easily, and they open up really easily to the people that came to Serbia. It's not from Serbia because they're polite. They're not so bitchy as the Western.
No, they're not bitchy at all. Polite. That's the thing. They're not bitchy at all. Like students can't believe it. They'll approach some really like stunning girl, like gorgeous, and she's like, "Oh, hey, yes, how are you? Oh, you're not from here. Cool. Where are you from?" They're so friendly because, well, actually, nobody goes to Serbia because a lot of people think it's still like there's a war going on there and it's not safe and it's completely. Like it's no more dangerous than any Western normal city. I don't think, in my opinion. I've been there a lot of times, but they're very friendly. They're very open, and this is the amazing thing. They're not spoiled. Like if you like, I know you've been outside of Serbia, but I don't think you spent lots of time like in the States and stuff. But they're not spoiled. They don't expect you to spend lots of money. They don't want you to they don't want that shit. They just want a man who's normal, who's not drunk, who's not taking drugs, who can fuck. Who's not an asshole. Yeah. That's it. Really, that's all they want. It's really simple. And in other, I can't even date girls from the West because they have all these expectations. I'm a lady. You have to do that. Blah 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 blah. I'm not gonna cook for you. What am I? Fuck off then. It's. I don't think there's anything wrong with having those values. It's like a woman takes care of a guy, a girl takes care of a woman, and it's a team. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's true. The main value usually in the girls here is they want men. They're going to personality. Who really are you? This is what they are attracted to. Who really are you? Are you capable to show yourself or not? If you're not honest and not showing yourself in an honest way, you're done. They sense that really easily. If you're not congruent with yourself, you are done.
That's right.
They don't care. Because sometimes you told that masculine can be sometimes bad. In Serbia, that can be because there is some guys that is masculine but not good masculine, bad masculines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they need to be sometimes a little bit, stepping back to be curious, conscious a little bit. And when somebody is masculine and normal, It's huge plus.
Yeah, yeah. I say the same
So
thing about Russia. I've been to Russia a few times. Again, gorgeous women, very feminine women, more feminine than Serbia. Serbia, they're a little bit stronger, because they've been through more shit. They're just stronger women.
yeah,
In Russia, they're just more girly girls, which is fine too. I love both. But in Russia, it's really, really easy to hook up with a girl because there's so many guys who are either complete fucking assholes or alcoholics or have drug problems. If you speak to a girl 5 minutes, you're just a little sexual. She knows you want to fuck her, and you're just a normal guy. You're not drinking. You're not like fucked up, and she realizes, oh, this guy could fuck me, and he's normal. They're gonna try and they want to go home with you. I mean, it's literally just be normal, and they want to fuck. And that's
yeah,
why when guys have this idea of like, oh yeah, I have to do all this magical shit. No magical shit. You don't have to do anything. Just talk to her like normal guy and be like, yeah, you're
yeah,
fucking sexy. I like you. We should go somewhere, and don't be a pussy. And that's and don't be high off your face or drunk or a criminal. Don't show her your gun. That's bad. But yeah, and what's fucked up is here's what's crazy about Serbia. There's so many hot girls. A lot of guys dress like shit. They're all dressed like shit. Guys don't really dress good. Some of them work out or whatever, but they're mainly just kind of stupid, ignorant. They're not really that smart. They don't really. There's not a lot of self development going on. So most guys are walking around kind of retarded, and the girls are supermodels. And you see these guys dating these supermodels, and you just think, what the fuck? And it's because there's
yeah.
no better option. There's nothing else. There's not a lot going on. So if you go there and you're just a little bit like something's going on up here, and you're working on yourself a little bit, holy fuck, you can really do well.
Yeah.
For yourself.
In Serbia, the problem is usually because they're like, the normal people don't have balls because of them, because they feel threatened a little bit,
That's right.
So everything that you need to do, be normal and be the man. And you're having a really amazing chance to get some really, really hot girls that you cannot find in other countries. To be honest with you, first I was like, I want to go others, the girls outside, a little bit. When I go and try other girls, I'm like, oh shit, I want to go home, So when I do boot camp with Serbian guys, I tell them, let's go. Trust me, the girls not so hot, but do everything just to try. When you go back home, it will be much easier and you will enjoy much,
Mm-hmm.
So this is how I do boot camp with the Serbian people outside.
Yeah, man,
So,
it's really crazy. Like you can't believe it until you get there. The first time I was there, I'll tell you the truth. The first time I was there, I just walked out. We were there 10, 15 minutes. I was standing there in the middle of the square, and I was frozen. There was so many girls, just models, just like if you saw them on TV, it would just be a model show. There were so many girls like this. I didn't even know which one to approach because around me, anytime there's 8 or 9 hot girls, I don't even know which one. Which one do I talk to? I was frozen, like
what?
yeah. My brain was freaking out, and even after being to Serbia 3, 4 times, whenever I show up, I think I'm ready. I'm never ready. I get there, and again, my brain goes, "Holy fuck! How is it possible?" Every time it happens, the same thing. So I'm going to be there soon, and I'm going to freak out again. Yeah, you really have to go there and experience it. And so I've had several students when they're there, they all say the same thing. They do the course there, and they go, "Okay, I'm moving to Serbia." So I have a couple of guys who are living there, and other guys who have come back and visited and had fun and have girlfriends there and stuff. And yeah, it's just crazy. It's just really fucking crazy. There's really, I don't know what it is, but I don't know how many countries in the world really you can get girls that are that sexy and that friendly and open to strangers. It's really a rare thing.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
if you ask them anything, they will help you. You can ask them anything. They'll say, "Oh, sure, blah blah blah." They're willing to help.
Yeah.
So and they're polite. If she's like, hey, sometimes they not, but you just need to use them. She need to get used to you, and you're pretty doing an amazing job because everything that you need to do, you just do your own thing, be normal, and approach.
Yeah, that's it.
This is the things that they will learn from you. I think that you're doing amazing stuff. So this is the best deal in Belgrade.
So I always fantasized about doing something there, some kind of I've done training programs there, but something bigger where we can really get speakers and everything like that. So I think it's the perfect country to do an event because there's just you can go out there and just meet some really amazing girls, and especially do an event where it's about sex and sexual mastery because I want to get as many girls in the event as well, so we can actually practice doing some of the exercises on real life women. So that's what's going to make it really cool too. What we're going to do in Serbia, it's going to be really fun. So any other sort of observations or tips for the guys other than be normal, be direct when dealing with Serbian girls? Anything else that might help people who are going to head that way?
Well, the interesting things that people need to know is when it's easy to start the conversation for the foreign people, but everything else is about your skill. It's not like I'm here, I'm just existing. Now she'll fuck. No, she'll not. No. You need to do your own work to to put yourself in to really do the thing. It's not like I'm just existing. She'll fuck to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Some people are thinking that way, but
no.
They're friendly, they're open, and they know English. Yeah, that's important because in some other countries, girls don't know English so well. Because we learn English in schools, from basic school to middle school, we learn English a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why our girls, I mean Serbian girls, know to speak English. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll back you up. They're not like easy. They're not like super slutty or anything, but they're just sexually open.
Yeah.
But you still have to have some game and stuff. But they're friendly and they're open to it.
They're friendly, open to talk. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very open to talk. Yeah, that's a good point too. The English is really good. It's weird. I've been all over Europe, and I'd say the only countries really where you get like better English, other than England, maybe like certain Scandinavian countries, they're really good. Like I've been to Sweden, they're really, really good. Amsterdam, they're really, really good. But after like those two countries, I think Serbian, their English there is going to be better. I mean, it's really good. If you go anywhere like Poland, Spain, Italy, any of those countries, no, not even close. Like they speak better English than Serbia. Once in a while, you get some really hot Serbian girl who never learned and just like, nope, I don't speak it. And they're just kind of like, nope, I don't give a fuck. I don't have to speak English. You do get that once in a while, but I'd say 90% of girls do speak some. And that's awesome. Yeah, because if you go to some other countries, you're fucked. Like you can't do anything. So that's another really unique thing. It's pretty cool. The one story I always tell people, just to give people an example of how cool the girls are, and how they're just have real values. I was dating this one girl, and it was our third date, and we were going to have sex basically that night. And it got to a little bit late, like 1:30 or whatever. And her last bus went home, and so we had a really fun date. We had sex; it was awesome. And I said, okay, well, let me pay for your taxi home, which would have been like €4 or €5, like nothing. And she's like, no, I'll pay for my own cab. You don't have to. What am I, hooker? You don't have to pay for my taxi. And I was like, listen, let me pay for your fucking taxi. Don't be an asshole. And I had to argue just to get her to let me pay for her taxi. So this is the mindset of just like, they don't need you, they don't need your money, they're independent, they're strong, they don't need your shit. They'll fuck you, but they're not going to do it for money. They're not hookers. So they're very, very, very independent, and that's awesome. Like if you're looking to actually just connect on women and get with girls who like you for you, not because you have money, it's a fucking awesome place to be. That's what I think.
Also, and the thing is that because usually they're not having so much money, and the thing that they're not wanting so much money. People think people, they want only money, blah blah, but that's the wrong mindset. They usually don't want money. They don't have money, but they also don't want some money. They do not expect usually to pay the drink. You can do it 50-50 sometimes. Sometimes the girls pay drinks to me.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I've had it with me. Girls are buying me a drink, and I'm just like, are you fucking crazy? You're a student.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And affection,
really
because they're very affectionate, when, for example, if you lay down with the girl that is from Serbia, usually they will go to prepare the meal for you when you wake up. They're affectionate. The culture is like, if you're not affectionate, you're not good enough for the girls, So this is how they're used to behave. This is why they behave like that. Not every girl, but most of them are like that. If you do the things how you need to do, how is normal.
Yep.
Yeah.
100% agree. So yeah, man. So that's why I'm super excited to do an event in
Me too.
Serbia. It's gonna be sick, and yeah, you know, it's one of those things that people always want to talk about. You know, people are always like, well, how do you? You know, they want to be good in bed, how to be a good lover, and I thought, well, it's about time we do an event just on that, how to have sex, you know, how to really achieve sexual mastery, and what a great place to go and talk about that, where you can actually go and practice that.
Yeah.
You know, with some amazing girls, and yeah, we've got a couple of tantric guys who are going to be teaching like how to actually reach like enlightenment and like open up your chakras and just like connect with like the universe via sex, and that's pretty crazy shit. I'll tell you right now. Yeah.
I'm
So
excited about that.
It's not just going to be this. It's not going to be just no. It's going to be slow, making sweet love for hours and becoming one and realizing, oh, we're Jesus. That stuff too.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited to be that event because I'm sure that I will learn a lot about sexual mastery, to be with amazing guys, to connect with other people. There is a lot more than just learning some new stuff. It's a lot more to be with other people, to be different culture, to meet amazing girls. It's very affectionate, very open, and willing to help and to improve your skill set to the next level and to become definitely new person. That when you get the girl, you can be sexually connect to her, because if the girl is really important to you, it's very important to be sexually connected, to be the one, to share a lot more than just physical sex. You know?
I say it a lot, but nothing beats being in a live event where you can be there when it's happening and meet all the other guys and talk to the speaker and just be involved in the whole thing. And you meet so many cool people, and it changes people's lives. So that's a really cool thing. But I also love seeing people's mindset shift when they go, like people from your other Western countries, when they go to a country in Eastern Europe and they realize that the culture and the way the women treat sex and dating is completely different in a much better way. And they realize, oh, okay, so you're not creepy if you talk to girls. Men wanting sex isn't dirty. You're not a criminal for wanting sex. It's normal. People want sex. It's just a normal thing. It's not like demonized. Because right now, if you look at what's happening in the West, there's movements of feminists and different people saying like you shouldn't even talk to women. If you even want sex, you're bad. If you say, there was a woman, there's a video on the internet of a girl who wears really sexy tight jeans, and she walks down the street and they put a camera on her just to see how many guys are like, hey, how you doing, and have a nice day, and hey, beautiful, whatever, stuff like that. And they're like, oh, it's harassment. Men are terrible. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you retarded? It's like, why are you dressing up sexy? You're an attractive woman. You're dressing sexy. Of course, guys are going to say hi to you, and you should be happy that they are. You're very lucky. Don't become fucking like this is some kind of crime now to say hi to people. It's ridiculous. So when you get out of that and you go, oh yeah, women want sex, men are men, women are women, and it's okay. Wow, you realize how fucked up the West is. It's really fucked up, and you don't realize how fucked up it is till you leave, and then you see like, oh, this is how normal countries that were just women are women, and they want to be sexual and they want to have sex, and men should be men and walk up to them and say, hello, you're sexy. Holy fuck, that's a whole different. It's just a different reality. So you don't get to experience that until you go to it and fucking experience it. So
it's maybe for the Western people sounds like, what the hell are these guys talking about?
Yeah.
But you need to feel it. You need to feel it in person to person. To feel how it really feels to be in that kind of place. It's somehow refreshing. I see the guys that are really refreshed. They feel like, wow.
Dude, when my students come to Serbia, they don't want to go back to America. They don't want to go back to Canada. They don't want to go back to Australia. When women, they're fat, they don't take care of themselves, and then they want half your money as well. Then they want you to pay for everything, and they're no, I'm not going to have sex, blah, blah. And they do all this fucking head games, all this bullshit. And they make you out to be a fucking rapist. It's not, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's absolutely fucking. It's a bunch of propaganda, and I think it's put in place to control men, to make men weak, so they just work and they're desperate and they spend all their fucking money like this all the time, trying to get more money, more cars, whatever shit to get laid, rather than just like, oh wait, I could just be a man and be normal and be strong. No, they want you just spending money forever. So it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, girls are here very clean. They're taking so much about their self themselves. They're like, it's a normal thing to be dressed up good.
Yeah.
You know, it's stupid to be undressed. For the she will not feel good if she walks unprepared. You know,
Yeah.
because as I told, because social conditioning was like a little bit traditional country where you need to be good.
Right.
You know, so this is why they used to be like that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's really good. That's really, I wasn't aware of that before I went out a little bit, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I tell when I meet Serbian guys or guys from any Eastern European countries, I'm like, you have no fucking idea what's going on here. Yeah, you might not have enough money, or you might not have like whatever the latest fucking iPhone or shit, but you got
Yeah.
gorgeous women who are open all around you, who are super fucking sexy and just normal. You know, they're not all fucked up, and they're just like women who like men. It's like fuck yeah, yeah, it's just really epic. So that being said, yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna do this thing. It's gonna be beautiful. We're gonna change some lives, and we're gonna have some adventures.
Yeah.
And I would encourage anybody out there who wants to experience what we're talking about to get your ass over to directdatingsummit.com and get yourself a ticket to the event while you can. It's going to be epic, and the list of speakers keeps growing, and there's some really amazing folks going to be coming down. You can check it out. Myself, James Marshall, Johnny Saporno, Hypnotica is coming down, and a couple of tantric masters who you probably never heard of because they're not in the community or whatever, but they're amazing people who are going to teach some really, really deep level stuff, not just, hey guys, here's how you... No. It's going to be deep. You're going to be sitting there like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's going to be interactive too. We're going to have like breathing exercises and tantric exercises. We're going to have women at the event, hopefully, where we can actually practice some of this stuff, not just going out and practicing it, but like during the event, actually practicing exercises and stuff. So it's going to be really special. Nothing like this, I don't think, has ever been done before. A sex event for men with tantric masters, with women in the audience, we're all going to interact together. That's going to be very interesting.
Oh, that's I think that's I can never heard that this is ever done before.
Yeah, it's kind of, I just thought that would be cool, so we're going to give it a shot. So, and also, Milos, my favorite, Milosh. Is it with a strong sh or just Milos? Or is it Milosh?
Milosh.
Yeah,
sure.
of course. It's
yeah.
the strong, it's my favorite Serbian name. You just, like, somebody just said, it's my friend Milosh. You're just like, don't fuck with that guy. That is, this guy knows somebody with at least a gun. I am Mil. I just like walking up to girls, hello, I am Milosh. I don't know, it's just funny to me, but I am Milosh. It's just so... There's a joke, a comedian I knew when I was doing stand-up, a really, really funny comic called Mike Wilmot, very funny Canadian guy, and he had a joke where he's like, yeah, I'm in Eastern Europe, and I see a menu, and I'm looking at the menu in a restaurant, and it just says meat stew, and I'm like, hey, what kind of meat is this? And the waiter says, it is meat. And he said, yeah, but what kind of meat is it? Yes, it is meat. And he goes, I'm meat. What kind of meat is it? And he's going, meat, ugh, and he left. Anyway, but he just had that funny joke of just like the standard Eastern European, yes, meat. And so that's my joke whenever I'm anywhere near there. I'm like, yes, look, we must eat meat. We're in Serbia. You'll eat meat. And when you get there, too, the food's awesome. And you'll just get fucking meat plates with all this crazy-ass meat, and it's awesome.
Yeah, amazing. Food is the best. I can say it.
It's really
Serious.
good. It's really good. Yeah. So awesome, dude. So thanks for coming on in and talking about the beautiful Serbian girls and Serbia and what the hell we're gonna do. And I look forward to seeing you there. And hopefully you'll be meeting some of the dudes very shortly in the flesh.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me to be with you, to work with you, to talk with you.
Yeah, don't fuck it up. All right, well, that was another freaking long one as usual. It's always a freaking long one. But yeah, it was great. 2 guests. First time I've ever had 2 guests on a podcast, so that's pretty cool. I think 1 is enough, actually, because you can really get into it with 1 person. But it was cool having 2. Fuck it. Maybe I'll do that again. But that's it, really. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves, and if anyone is so inclined, feel free to come out to the Direct Dating Summit. There's a very, very, very special offer on tickets. It's only going to go till August 15th-ish, and it's right below. If you click on the link on the YouTube video, it'll take you to a page where you can get a ridiculous deal on tickets, but once that's over, it's over, and you have to pay the big price like everyone else. Okay, so that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next podcast. Peace.